Welcome, everybody. This is Ray of RebelEars.com. Want to thank everybody who's listening to the podcast. So today's going to be a Quikcast short episode. So for those who want to be audio engineers, the first step, in my opinion, that I learned the basics is interning. So a few reasons that you will want to intern. Of course, you get free experience. That's the best. Unlimited connects as long as you're interning for free. Between free experience, hands-on experience, professional atmosphere, long-term relationships, you can create paid sessions, and you can use the studio for free depending on the connection you have with the owner. So let me go off with the free experience. So my first internship was at Astro Studios, and I linked up with Max Unruh and Dan Cohen, told him that I was interested in interning there. Actually, if it wasn't for Justin Padron, I wouldn't have interned there in the first place. I told him I was going to SAE for audio engineering. He told me that Astro Studios were looking for interns. I told him I was interested. Less than 2 days, I went up to Astro Studios, talked to the owner, Max Unruh. He told me to come in that same week. So, a few things I had to learn. Had to learn the A room, had to learn the B room, the equipment, the gear, any issues, make sure to address it with them. It was actually fun, but one thing I am thankful for is the experience, because, of course, everybody want to be an engineer or producer dealing with the music industry, even an artist. As an artist, you do want that sound every time you get on a track. So the free experience I got from Astro Studios is so valuable today that I use till this day. So some of the free experience was learn how to run a session, learn how to deal with clients, troubleshooting issues when it comes to like if the mic goes out or if Pro Tools shuts off, what to do, or if it crashes. I learned from day-to-day sessions working there, and I am thankful that I can go to any session now and troubleshoot any issues, or if they have their own intern at the studio, like Treesound Studios, any issues you have, they have multiple interns. And I remember when Steve Abicki was working at Treesound Studios, he just wanted a different connection with the mic, I guess with, I don't know if it was the CL1B or the NE 1073. Well, the CL1B is a compressor and the NE 1073 is an EQ, but it's also a preamp. So it was dealing with that. I think he wanted to deal with the LA2A compressor, but there was an intern there who knew exactly how to use the equipment in the studio, especially the SSL board. I think it was like a 64 channel board, and it just, it's very beneficial knowing that you have someone who's experienced with using the equipment in there. So free experience, you can get to the point where you're using, a 16 track to a 64 track. So that's the benefit of free experience. When it comes to unlimited connects, like a few of my connects, like DJ Wave, shout out to DJ Wave. I actually met him at Astro Studio when I was interning. No lie, one of his sessions, I remember I was talking to him and he had it up, and I made one of his presets a template of mine when it comes to let me see, it was a Wave C4 multi-brand compressor, I think, and it was how he would give the artist the track. He would have the C4 on the Submaster, and it would basically lower it wasn't on the Submaster, it was actually on the production, like if it's the beat or an instrument or drums, dealing with the production, he would actually have it on this plug. He would have that plug-in on that track itself. It was to lower the mid frequency so it could bring up the presence of the artist. And that was actually the first preset I made from Wave. So shout out to him. From Scott Taylor, shout out to Scott Taylor Jr. He is a dope, talented engineer that I met at Astro Studios years ago. He is doing big things, got multiple plaques. He's always consistent. Shout out to him. He's always doing work, but it's just, thankful for the fact that, you can work with somebody and they allow you to be in a session just to sit down to watch them. So those are just two of my connects that I, hold highly of out of all the ones that I know to this day. I know a lot of connects, but those are two who are, I just want to say thank you for, allowing me to experience their sessions, learn from how you run it, to, just staying connected to this day. So thank you for that. Hands-on experience deals with like free experience. Hands-on is, of course, running the session. I try to remember my first one at Castle Hill Studios because I ran so many sessions. Even as an intern, I remember I ran it with Dan and ran it with Max. It was this day that Max told me it was like, I think like 9, 10 artists in one night. I was in the B room, he was in the A room, and we were just going back to back recording different artists. I was learning the studio, learning the mic placements, learning how to use the EQ compressor. They have a lot of outboard gears, so I love that experience, just being hands-on, knowing that, okay, if I tweak it this way, I get this sound. And every artist is different. Every artist should have their own signature preset or template if they have like a hands-on engineer they work with. And the next one is professional atmosphere. So with me and Max running those sessions, of course, it had to be professional. I had to know how to work with different artists, understand how to work with the client. I think the client was
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
DJ Brodinski, yeah, he's a very popular DJ, overseas, and he was very humble. The first time I met him, he was just buying everybody food for the night, for the session, hooking up everybody with whatever they needed, but he was very business oriented. So I'm glad I got to experience that, especially because he was basically the executive producer of the project that was being done at the moment. So professional atmosphere, always make sure you stay professional no matter what the situation is. Even if it's something you can't control, do your best to control the situation. Even if it's like a disagreement with the artist and the client, step out of the room so they can have that conversation. You get paid, of course, to, do what you are paid to do, but sometimes you're in a position that you should step away from, especially if it doesn't concern you. Now, long-term relationships, when it came to me, Wave, Max, Scott, even Dan, rest in peace, I stay connected with those guys till this day because, you never know what life can throw at you, especially if you stay connected with those who are moving forward, who are in your criteria when it comes to your skill set that you trying to move up from. So I still stay connected with those people to this day. Paid sessions, so many. I am thankful for all the sessions I have for Castle Hill Studios, working with different artists, producers, engineers, different projects, EPs, LPs, singles. It's a blessing to, people want to pay you for your skills. It depends on how much you know your worth. I know my worth, my base rate. I don't do as much recording at different studios as I used to because now I have the freedom of recording specific artists at my studio that I have at my home studio at Rebel Ear Studios. And, I'm very selective on who I want to work with. And I'm just thankful that I know for the fact that I can control who I want to work with. Back in the day when I was at Castle Hill Studios, of course, you just book sessions with different artists or different clients who just just want to book the room for like 2 to 8 hours. I think the longest session I had was like 10, 12 hours. I'm trying to remember. It was like different artists that I had to deal with. Some of them I didn't like their music, but they were paid clients. So I did my job recording, quick mix, or, while recording, they wanted me to mix during the session. So that happens. When you have paid session, it shows your value as an engineer. Even as a producer too, you should always have a base rate. Never tell nobody you don't know or how much you think I should get paid. Have a base rate. I learned that as an intern. And using the studio for free, I am thankful for the fact that there was times when there was no sessions booked that I could just walk in the studio, record, get the sound quality from the outboard gear there, because there's something about analog gear that you just get like a different characteristic, a different old school feel, like a warm feel from your track that you don't just get from digital. But I took the time recording different artists when there was no session. There was one specific artist, I'm trying to remember. I forgot the artist because it was a past artist who I believed in. Sometimes you got to cut ties with people who you see potential, but they don't see it in themselves. And it was a learning experience, but it was fun for the fact that, there was times when I had to pay out of pocket for sessions. Of course, if I'm, running a session with an artist, you pay for the room, the artist pays for, whatever price you set yourself as an engineer. Like I tell every engineer, of course, you pay to book the room, but you got to get paid yourself. So my partner Lee says automatically he gets paid, I think, $30-$35 an hour to, run a session. And that's just him running the session. That's not coming from him recording, like booking the room. That's two different prices. It could go up to like $60-$70 an hour because of his credits. So I'm thankful for, my partner too. Shout out to Lee, YL. If you're thinking about starting off as a producer, engineer, even an artist, I do highly recommend you being an intern. I know with the situation with COVID, it's not that open as it used to be, but there are still studios that are open to the public, but it's limited on how many people can be in a session. But like I said, it is beneficial knowing for the fact that you are getting, hands-on experience, long-term relationships. When it comes to long-term relationships, it depends on if you a people person. There's a lot of things that I learned from Castle Hill Studios that I use to this day, like I said earlier, that makes me a valuable audio engineer that I'm thankful to this day. But any more information y'all want from me, you can always go on rebelears.com, hit me up in the contact information, or hit me up on multiple Instagram pages from my rebelears.ray, rebelears.rai, or hit up my partner YL, rebelears.yl, rebelearsatl, or rebelears.posts. So that's Rebel Ears Post for, daily posts about different success tips, quotes, things that can help you to move forward, outside of being an engineer, artist, producer, outside of the music industry, just to help you daily. So right now, I just want to say thank you for everybody who's listening to the podcast of Rebel Ears, and keep